Waiting to go live here. Should be live now. There it is. Got a nice sound check. Give myself a chat room and give myself a thumbs up. I'm looking at Ableton here. Move that big old giant subscribe heart out the way. There's Ableton right here. Actually, I'm not playing the keyboard right now, so I can fill up the whole screen. And that's my YouTube up there. Let me see. I think my big window needs to be refreshed. Yes, that's not the right window. That needs to be refreshed. Huh. Next one is, it's not even named the right window. Here it is. Change the name of this to big window. Okay, let's look here. And I think I can pull my another camera up here. I can use my phone if I want, actually, for a headshot. Now let's go ahead and just grab over my shoulder camera. I don't even see it. There it is. What? Here we are. I could do a headshot too. Let me pull my phone over here. Do a headshot too. There we go. Let's see if we can get a headshot here. Phone. I don't see. Oh, headshot. Something's wrong with my phone. I think when I put it in this thing, it squeezes, and then it goes to it's locked now. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Come on, phone. I'm not gonna worry about it. It doesn't want to go on right now, so whatever. Let's keep moving. I can grab I can use over the headshot. I can use this. I know what I can use for a headshot. I can use my overhead for a headshot. and just zoom in. So I'm not doing anything right now. I'm not doing anything important. I can turn this into a headshot. I can even zoom in a little further down. Yeah, I can use that. Okay. I'm going to pull up some YouTube stuff. Pull some YouTube up. Have it right here in front of me. See, do I have anything here for Ableton? No, I don't think I have anything Ableton. This will be new. YouTube. Then I'm gonna go to Ableton. Ableton 101. Ableton for beginners. It's a year old. New Ableton 12. I think I might not want. Well, I'm not gonna be able to do a lot of stuff with this here. 4 years ago. Ableton beginners. Beginner Ableton tutorial. Here's a lady.
Hi. Hi, and welcome to L&A Does.
Oh, that's really annoying there. Too much trouble on her voice.
Starting to teach yourself music production.
You can't teach yourself and be the teacher and the student.
I understand that music production can be quite daunting and be overwhelming when you're just starting to teach. Hi, and welcome to L&A Does audio stuff. Hey,
I just don't want to look at this lady.
so much cool things for you. Hi,
And she's trying to act like she. I don't want to watch her.
Hi, and welcome to L&A
She's already doing a nationality thing, making hand signs like she's a sister. I ain't mad. But that's a name for that when people act like a different nationality that they don't want anything to do with, but they want to emulate their moves or their habits or. I don't even want to watch. This is a 2-year-old one.
After I learned how to use Ableton, my life completely changed for the better. I'm not even kidding. I've used it to make hundreds of thousands.
He doesn't have a timeline though.
And you could potentially do the same DM with your song.
He doesn't have a timeline.
Next, head over to the input in your input. Next, click on live and click on play.
This is for the demo. This is not for the demo.
So go ahead and just press Command, comma, and that's going to open up preferences. You can also click on live and click on preferences.
Demo.
Audio tab, and under the audio device section.
101 demo. Ableton beginners. Ableton talking about the demo. That's me. I'm looking at my own video. I said beginners. It doesn't have a demo. First 14 minutes in Ableton. Easy beginners. I might have to buy the full version because the demo. Well, anyway, I'm gonna wait 30 days. I'm gonna wait. Use this free.
We also have a little window down here.
Let's see if he has a. I must have been watching him already. Does he have a timeline? Yes, he has a timeline. Settings.
Use settings. Once you've done this, you won't have to touch most of them again, and it will make your life so much easier in Ableton. To access your settings, go up to Live and select Settings, or
I already did that.
which is Command, comma, or Control, comma on Windows. First, and use the zoom.
Command,
this makes Ableton Live bigger or
comma.
smaller, depending on what screen you're using. Next is the most important thing, which is the color and appearance. My Ableton Live might look slightly different to you. I quite like a dark color to it. You can go up here and change some crazy color schemes. Like, whoa, you need sunglasses for this one, man. This one is my second favorite. I like keeping it on default and go to dark and then neutral. Now you can select cool, which makes it a bit more blue,
Display.
which makes it a bit more yellow. Second most important, or maybe it should be the important side, is our audio preferences. This deals with how we get audio into Ableton Live and how we get audio out of Ableton Live. For now, we just want to be able to hear things coming off Ableton Live. For this, you will need to select how you're listening to Ableton Live. This is wherever you plug your speakers into or your headphones into. Now, if you plug your headphones directly into your computer or you're using Bluetooth, you'll need to select them here on this list. Now, I'm going to select this for now because I'm using some screen capturing software. Then once you've done that, you need to set your sample rate. Set this to a default of 44-100. Then you need to adjust your buffer size. 256 is usually a good place to start. Then let's test that we have the right audio settings set up. And we do this by pressing this test tone here. If you hear that, that means you have your audio preferences
Oh my.
correctly set up, and you will
I have the
sound from Ableton Live. Don't hear that, just double
force
check
quit
that
window
it's in your
spinning.
audio too. Next, we're going to look at getting
No,
any
there it is.
external
It stopped.
plugins we may have into Ableton Live. This is where you can download instruments from other companies or audio effects.
Let me
from
see
other
that. I don't have that
companies,
test.
such as
Yes, I
instruments
do.
like Syrup or audio
Test
effects from
tone.
Filter. Now, if you're using a Mac, you will want to select your audio units.
I don't hear nothing. Test tone on. Maybe it doesn't work on the demo. Anyway, I'm hooked up. I just want to see where I can get my virtual instruments. I just got to watch the...
Then select your VST2 plugins in system folders. Save for VST3.
Okay, hold on.
And you're sorted. Now, just a couple of set.
Plugins. On. All this stuff should be on, I guess. VST. Look how that's spinning. Let me check my YouTube. I had to go back every once in a while. Oh, I'm watching YouTube now. There's nobody in the chat room, nobody watching, no thumbs up. That's just spinning me while I want to listen to this guy. Whoops. What's that?
Settings that I recommend down here is keep multiple plugin windows open. So this is particularly handy if you're mixing or mastering. Auto hide plugins. As soon as you click off the track, it will hide it if that's selected on. And auto open plugin window. So as soon as you load the plugin, Ableton Live will open it up. I think that's just a really good one to have on. Then record WAV. I like to select the file type to WAV, bit depth 32-bit. Have a 2-bar count in for when we're recording. Turn off your exclusive ARM solo, so
Using
that means you can
VST plugin system
or
folder.
record more than
I'm not
one
going to
track
use
at a
that.
time, and the same for soloing a track. We want to make sure auto warp long samples is turned
Yeah, I don't
off.
have that
The
option.
default warp
I don't
mode
think.
complex. Then turn off create fades and clip edges. This is just going to wreak havoc with all the transients in your samples you import. Then we want to set our default launch mode to toggle. Great, so all set up, boring bits out of the way,
Trigger.
let's have some fun in Ableton Live. So we have two views
Toggle.
in Ableton Live, which is the session view, which is the view that everyone gets
That's
scared
just
of.
like-
Use this little
oh, I see
icon
toggle.
up here, which is actually
I
the
saw a
Ableton
trigger.
Live logo. You can click and open up something called a range view, which looks like your more traditional DAW setup. You have a linear timeline with bars across the top.
Let me go
and
back.
time along with ease in Ableton Live, which is the session. Turn off create fades and clip edges. This is just going to wreak havoc with all the transients in your samples you import. Then we want to set our default launch mode to toggle. Great, so all set up, boring bits out of the
Already?
way. Let's have getting any external plugins we may have into Ableton Live. This is where you can download instruments from other companies or audio effects from other companies, such as instruments like Syrup or audio effects from Filter. Now, if you're using a Mac, you will want to select your audio units, then select your VST2 plugins in system folders, save for keep multiple plugin windows open. So this is particularly handy if you're mixing or mastering. Auto hide plugins. As soon as you click off the track, it will hide it if that's selected on. And auto open plugin window. So as
He
soon as
doesn't
you
have
load the
his
plugin,
on, so I'm not going to turn
Ableton will
mine
open
on.
it up. I think that's just a really good one to have on. Then record warp. I like to select the file type to WAV, bit depth 32-bit. Have a 2-bar count in for when we're recording. Turn off your exclusive ARM solo, so that means you can record enable or record more than one track at a time, and the same for soloing a track. We want to make sure
I wasn't paying
auto warp
attention
on samples is turned
when
off.
he did
Put
that.
a default warp mode to complex.
Let me back up
then
some
turn
on
off
there.
create fades and clip edges. This is just go. Have a 2-bar count in for when we're recording. Turn off your exclusive ARM solo, so that means you can, this is particularly handy if you're mixing or mastering. Auto hide plugins. As soon as you click off the track, it will hide it if that's selected on. And auto open plugin window. So as soon as you load the plugin, Ableton Live will open it up. I think that's just a really good one to have on. Then record warp. I like to select the file type to WAV, bit depth 32-bit. Have a 2-bar count in for when we're recording.
I already had that. I'm just going to do mine as much as I can do, just like his. All tracks. Do I have the option? All tracks. Off. He has that off. He has this off. Let me see.
Turn off your exclusive ARM solo, so that means you can record enable or record more than one track at a time, and the same for soloing a track. We want to make sure auto warp long samples is turned off. Put a default warp mode to complex, then turn off create fades and clip edges. This is just going to wreak havoc with all the transients in your samples you import. Then we want to set our default launch mode to toggle. Great, so all set up, the boring bits out of the way, let's have some fun in Ableton.
Let me see, he didn't go
So
all the
we
way
have
down the
two
bottom,
views in
no.
Ableton Live, which is this toggle. Great, so all set up.
Wait a
boring
minute,
bits out
one
the
of them
way,
was
let's have
off.
some fun. Turn off create fades and clip.
Okay, the last one, the middle one is off here. He didn't get down to there. So I had mine set just like his.
Edges. This is just going to wreak havoc with all the transients in your samples you import. Then we want to set our default launch mode
License and
to
update.
toggle. Great, so all set up, the boring bits out of the way, let's have some fun in Ableton Live. So we have two views in Ableton Live, which is the session view, which is the view that everyone gets scared of. If you use this little icon up here, which is actually the Ableton Live logo, you can click and open up something called a range view, which looks like your more traditional DAW setup. You have a linear timeline with
I didn't see
bars.
where he clicked on just that quick.
Using Ableton Live, which is the session view, which is the view that everyone gets scared of. If you use this little icon up here, which is actually
Okay, I see it. Okay, that's what I think I want this now. All right.
the Ableton Live logo, you can click and open up something called a range view, which looks like your more traditional DAW setup. You have a linear timeline with bars across the top and time along the bottom, where you can record or arrange music along a timeline. We'll come back to that in a bit. We're going to demystify this session view. So we can imagine session view as almost like a sketch pad or a live performance area, where we have loops that continuously loop round. They're not on a predetermined arrangement, and we can drop them in and out when we feel like it. Whereas
I hope he's not
arrange
just
view, as
using
we were just looking
samples.
at a second ago, is more optimized
I want to record
for
my own music.
producing, arranging the song, adding layers. Think of it as like the finishing stage. Around each one of these views, we have a couple of windows that can open and close. The main one to think about here is the browser. This is where all our materials that we use to create and shape music live.
See, he's
We can
using
open and close
samples.
this
I hope
window
he
with
don't
this
use
little
samples.
drop-down button here. We also have a little window down here called Info View, which we can engage by pressing this little I button in the corner. Now, I really recommend you have this open. All you need to do is hover your mouse over something, and it will tell you what it does. For example, this is the track activate.
Oh,
We also have a little window down here called Info View, which we can engage by pressing this little I button in the corner. Now, I really recommend you have this open. All you need to do is hover your mouse over something, and it will tell you what it does. For example, this is the track
Oh, okay.
activator. and it activates and deactivates the track. Who knew? Then we have down here another window which we can hide and close with this little drop down menu here. This shows our piano roll, our sample editor, and also what instruments we're using in Ableton Live. We can also use this little button here to hide or close all the controls.
I don't use piano roll.
Tracks here. Now if we're inside Arrange View, we can open up the tracks.
I need to back up a little more. I skip.
Sample editor, and also what instruments we're using in Ableton Live. We can also use this little button here to hide or close all the controls on each one of these tracks here. Now if we're inside Arrange View, we can open up the tracks within inside the Arrange View. This is great for when we come on to balancing all the levels of all the audio tracks as well. Let's go back to the main session view by clicking on this button up here. Now let's address the elephant in the room. What the hell are all these things here? So these vertical columns here are something called tracks. Tracks are the vertical columns that host the sounds in Ableton Live. We have 4 types of tracks in Ableton Live, but only 2 different types of tracks can host sounds. In the main window here we have something called MIDI and audio tracks. Over here we have something called return. And over here we have something called main. Just first look at MIDI tracks. MIDI, which stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface.
Okay, where are the MIDI
which sounds
tracks?
scary. It really isn't. Think of it like an instrument that lives inside Ableton Live, where we can control what notes it plays. The other one is audio. This is where we can drag loops or samples in from Ableton Live or any sample website.
I'm not going to be using that.
We can also use these tracks to record audio in, so someone singing or playing a bass guitar, which I will demonstrate later in this video. We then have return tracks, which are slightly different from these tracks here, where we cannot store any music in them. They simply affect the music that's already inside Ableton Live. Last one is the main. Main is essentially the sum of all the tracks in Ableton Live. Each one of these tracks here has an audio
This is
output,
boring.
and it all comes
You know,
to
I'm
this
not
main
really in
output
learn
here. Instead,
mode.
it comes out of
I need to get my mindset into learn mode, y'all, because I'm gonna have to be patient. I'm watching this, and I know I have to watch it, but I'm like bored because I don't feel like watching it. But I need to get in learn mode. Let me open this window. I'm just trying to get chilly in here already. I'm just gonna let this play. I might sign off and come back, let you guys, you know, I'm not gonna bore you with what I have to learn. But thank you for subscribing. Let's just let this play. Let me open
2
this window.
outputs out to either your audio interface. I want some guitar. I'm going to use guitar amp, and I want to find bass roundup. Nice, hey? Also, I need to check that it's in tune. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to go down to tuner, put that before. Now, you can access your audio effects and instruments by clicking at the top of the track here, remember. So if you click off the track and you can't find it, I say get back to it. Now I'm just going to tune my bass. Nice. Now let's play along and try and figure out a bass line, then I'll show you how to record it.
Now what's he doing? Did he just I didn't see what he did. See, I want
now we're
to.
ready to go. All we need to do is make sure we
He's
have
doing audio.
a metronome turned on. We have a counting set.
See,
So
he's
this gives
doing-
us like a little pre-roll. So
Wait a
it
minute,
doesn't
let me
just
see, what
start
is he
recording
doing? I
straight
want the
away. It
MIDI
goes 2
part.
bar BPM, which will play. This is where we can play,
Drums.
or as we call it in Ableton's language, launch the clip in time with each other.
Clip.
What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to drag one of
See,
these
he's doing
clips
clips.
onto an audio track. These are audio.
I don't
loops.
want to do.
So if you're downloading
See,
a
I want to go
MIDI
to
clip,
MIDI.
you would drag it into a
Let
MIDI
me see
track,
if he's
download
doing
an audio clip, drag it into an audio track.
arranging
So I'm going to start with a drum.
track
Just drag
clips.
it in like that. Now don't worry if you
Doesn't- here we go, MIDI.
You drag it over to this space here which says drop files and devices here.
I want to jump down to
Click on
MIDI.
some MIDI. Now to control a instrument already lives inside Ableton Live, we need to create a MIDI clip. And how we do this is you just double click on an empty clip space and it creates a 1-bar MIDI clip. Now if I press play on this, you won't hear anything. So unlike the audio loops where we press play and something happened, nothing happens.
This is not
So we
supposed
have
to
to
be.
first find the sound we want to
It
control
says big window.
and then draw in or play in the notes we would like the instrument to play. Just first load the sound. The instruments live in the Instruments tab here. We're going to start with something called the 808 Core Kit. We're just going to drag it onto a MIDI track, and that loads it. Now down here you can see the instrument and you can control the various parameters there. To go back to the clip, we can simply double click in the space on the clip, and that takes us back to the piano roll editor here. This is where we edit all our MIDI notes. Now when you load a drum rack, you see down the left hand side we have all the sounds here, and along the top we have at what moment in time would you like that to happen. To enter in a MIDI note, you just simply double click on the sound you would like to
Oh, MIDI.
play,
No, I want to put
and
it in.
what
Okay,
point
then
in time you would like
I'm
it
not.
to play.
He skipped
So
some,
this
didn't he?
window here is a 1-bar MIDI clip. So MIDI. Now to control a instrument already lives inside Ableton Live, we need to create a MIDI clip. And how we do this is you just double click on an empty clip space and it creates a 1-bar MIDI clip. Now if I press play on this, you won't hear anything. So unlike the audio loops where we press play,
Okay,
and
where's
something
the
happens,
virtual instrument?
nothing happens here. We have to first find the sound we want to control and then
Okay.
draw in or play in the notes we would like the instrument to play.
No, I'm going to play
Just
it
first
myself.
load the sound. The instruments live in the instruments tab.
Okay.
Here. We're going to
Oh,
start
stop.
with the
Instrument.
8-core kit.
Let me see if I can find my own instruments. Instruments. Here they are, instruments. Now I want to import my own internal, external instruments. These are, should be, no, I don't see my instruments. Instrument pack. These are not my instruments. I want my third party instruments. Yeah, I want third party. Instruments. External. I don't see no external. Sounds. I don't see the external sounds. Yeah, I don't see the external sounds. That's my iPad right there. Yeah, it's going to be a little minute before to get this situated, y'all. Right now, I don't see the sounds, my external instrument sounds. Native Instruments and Ableton and Atari, grooves, tunes, templates. Let me see. I want to just. Don't save. Here's an 8-track. Oh, this all this audio too. I don't want that. Yeah, it's all audio. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to this, y'all. Modules. Plugins. Oh, here they are, y'all. Here they are, y'all. Plugins. It's under plugins. Let me see if I can open up Contact 8. Oh, I gotta go back to because I don't have any audio. Let's see, allow. There it is, Contact 8 right on the end. It opened up. I didn't even know what I was doing. You know what though, I have like all these, I had these 8 audio tracks, which I don't think I want. And go back to, let's see. Go back to templates. I'll go back to the default one. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up go back to my plugins is what I wanted, y'all. That's what I was looking for. Plugins, I contact 8. I just double click on it and it, see if it's going to go where it's supposed to go. I don't see where it is. Oh, I see it's on the first track. It's on the first track, y'all. Let's just grab my Nor Pure, double click there. Okay, I'm going to put this, I'm going to put my virtual, it's enough room in here, I guess, for the virtual instrument to be right there. Let's see. No, it's not playing yet. Oh, it's still loading. Okay, it's loaded, but it's not. I'm gonna take my time, y'all. Put this over here. I have a plug-in window just for this. I mean a screen, my monitor, just for this. Okay, let's see if he's gonna
I'm
explain.
just going to drag it onto a MIDI track, and that loads it. Now down here you can see the instrument and you can control the various parameters there. To go back to the clip, we can simply double click in the space on the clip, and that takes us back to the piano roll editor here. This is where we edit all our MIDI notes. Now when you load a drum rack, you see down the left hand side we have all the sounds here, and along the top we have at what moment in time would you like that to happen. To enter in a MIDI note, you just simply double click on it.
I don't play like that.
Like to play and what point in time you would like it to play.
This for
So
people
this
who don't
window
play an
here is a
instrument.
1-bar MIDI clip. So this is beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. And it's been further cut up into 4 sections, which are 16th notes. And that is 1 E and a 2 E and a.
Let me see if I can put this in a record.
We can also turn on this headphone dial here so we can hear what sound lives on what line. To enter in a MIDI note, just double click in the space you would like it to happen. I want it to happen on the first space, beat 1.
See, that's for people who don't play
4.
an
You need to
instrument.
make sure your clip is engaged, just like the audio clips, and then when you press spacebar, you will hear it. Again, to speed it and slow it down, you use this.
This is not going to be a good
BPM
video
dial
for me.
here.
It's not going to be a good video for me. MIDI 101. Ableton beginners. Ableton tutorial for beginners. It's a year ago. I put MIDI in there. Here's using how to set up your MIDI controller in Ableton.
Today we're going to sort out how we can get our MIDI controller set up with Ableton Live. Let's jump straight into Ableton
No
and see how we
timeline.
get all this set up. First thing we need to do is ensure that our MIDI controller is connected to our computer. This can be done by the USB lead up here, then connecting it to your computer. Then look for some light on your keyboard, see if the lights come on. If there's a display, that means it's got power and we're ready to rock and roll. Next thing we need to check is Ableton Live receiving any MIDI notes or any MIDI signal? You can do this by these little 2 kind of dots at the top here. If I click on a key,
Yeah, I see it is
the top one
receiving.
flashes that says I am receiving signal. We're not hearing any sound yet because there's a few things we need to do. First thing we need to do is go to our preferences. So we do this by pressing Command, comma on a Mac or Control, comma on Windows. We then need to go down to the Link, Tempo, and MIDI tab, then down to Ports. You should see the option of in and out and the name of your MIDI controller here.
So
If
I
at
don't
this
have
stage
that
you do
'cause
not see
it's
your
a
MIDI
demo
controller
version.
option here, that means you may need to download an additional driver for your MIDI controller. This can be found on the manufacturer of your MIDI controller's website. Next thing we need to do is talk about the different settings here, which track, sync, remote, MPE. Ignore MPE for now, we do not need to worry about it. In deals with MIDI messages coming in from your MIDI controller to Ableton Live. Out deals with Ableton Live sending MIDI information out to your controller. So let's have a look at the types of messages we want to send in. So we want to send in track, which basically means musical MIDI notes. So to be able.
That's not for the beginning one. Let's see, channel 1. What's this? Instrument. Phantom. DAW. It's stopped. There it is, Phantom 8. Channel 1. Oh. I don't think this is hooked up to the iPad is not hooked up to the I don't need that. I can use my Phantom. Yeah, I'm not ready for this, y'all. Not ready for prime time. What is this? Record. I don't even know how this works. I might be better off using my going back to Machina. I think I'm gonna watch these videos before I go into my before I watch my movies at night, because I'm not even getting any MIDI. I see it's going in, but it's not playing the virtual instrument. Something I don't have. Beginning version. Let's see if let me jump ahead.
To control instruments with control software
and this is
selected on the app. I'm going to send the clip your MIDI part. So the drummer has started the song. You can't start the song without. Oh no, still no sound. Okay, one last step, which is this record enable here.
Oh,
essentially the on button for the channel to receive MIDI notes. Fantastic, we have MIDI notes. Now just a little bit of housekeeping. Now we can select what MIDI controller the MIDI messages are coming from.
I see the record, but I'm not receiving any. It's not, the virtual instrument is not coming out. I'm going to switch up here and let it both come out of the Phantom. Whoa, there it is. I had it on the wrong thing, y'all. I'm ready to give up too. Let's see if I can record. Okay. Can't hear nothing. It stopped as soon as it started recording. It stopped for some reason. As soon as it hit record, it stopped, the sound stopped going in. Okay, I see it right there. See, what's this? Headphone? Let's see if this my X touch is not. X touch is not doing anything. I can use my Phantom. As soon as it starts recording, it stops. It turns it off. I'm gonna come back to this. I did get this far anyway. When I stop, at least the music is going in. The virtual instrument is playing. Let me try. What's the name? Yeah, it stopped again. Whenever it goes in record mode, it stops, and I can't hear anything. What's this down here? Phantom. What's this? Center. Main. Think I want to come out of external. Let's try it again. It's every time it goes in record, I can't hear anything anymore. But anyway, that's enough for this. It's enough for Ableton. At least I have the sound coming out. I'm gonna save this as edit file, save as my what's the name don't want to work. The microphone, I have to actually type. What a Stone Age situation. Almost. I don't know how to spell most. Working. Sometimes you forget easy work. Oh, it's not even typing. It's not. There it is. Most working. I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna move on to Machina. Close this. Whoops. Ask me, do I want to sign off? Not yet. I'm going to go ahead and sign off and move on to the Machina, y'all. If I come back, it'll be on Machina. All right? Get my Machina videos up. Peace and love, peace and hair grease, peace and roast beef, peace and roast grief. Live long and prosper. Stay safe. I'm out.